All right, ready to dive in. We've got a whole stack of articles all about some pretty fascinating historical artifacts. We're talking ancient mysteries, unexplained objects, even a customer complaint that's almost 4,000 years old.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be good. I love how these objects can give us these little glimpses into humanity across like all of time, you know?
Totally. I mean, we tend to think of the past as like simpler, less advanced, but these artifacts, they totally challenge that.
For sure. It's like they show us that people have always been inventive and creative, and honestly, sometimes a little mischievous too, which I kind of love.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's start with just the sheer age of some of these discoveries. Like, it's mind-blowing. There's this article here about a child's skeleton found in France. Dates back to the 5th or 6th century. But get this, the child shows signs of Down syndrome.
That's incredible. And it's not just the discovery itself, it's what it tells us about how societies in the past viewed and treated individuals with differences, you know?
Exactly. So how is this child treated?
Well, the article says the child was buried with the same body posture as others in the necropolis, and that suggests they were included, not ostracized. So it challenges that assumption that, ancient communities were just uncaring.
It really does make you think, huh? Okay, are you ready for a really big jump back in time?
Hit me with it.
All right, get this footprints. In China's Dengying Formation, we're talking 551 to 541 million years ago.
Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. That's before the dinosaurs even existed, right?
Way before.
Okay, wow. All right, so whose footprints are we talking about here?
So these footprints belong to, get this, a bilaterian creature.
Bilaterian. Okay, refresh my memory. What does that mean again?
So bilaterian means an organism with bilateral symmetry, basically with a head, a tail, and, two symmetrical sides.
Gotcha, like most animals we see today. Okay, but what's so special about these footprints?
Well, these footprints actually show evidence of limbs.
Limbs, that early.
Yeah, and that actually pushes back the timeline for limb evolution, like way earlier than scientists originally thought.
Wow, that's a game changer. Talk about rewriting the textbooks.
Right. So we're seeing how these discoveries can actually reshape our understanding of the past. But let's move from ancient skeletons and footprints to some objects that suggest some serious ingenuity. I'm talking about ancient tech that is going to blow your mind.
All right, let's hear it. I'm always fascinated by this stuff.
Okay, so have you heard of the Antikythera mechanism?
The Antikythera mechanism. Rings a bell, but refresh my memory.
So it was discovered in this Greek shipwreck from around 100 BCE. And it's this super complex system of, like, gears and wheels.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What was it for?
They used it to predict astronomical events.
Yeah.
Things like eclipses and planetary positions.
Wait, are you saying like they had a computer back then?
Pretty much. People call it the world's first analog computer. And honestly, it's so complex that even modern engineers are still trying to figure out how it all works.
That's incredible. It really makes you wonder, what other technological marvels they might have created that have just been lost to time.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what else is out there?
Yeah.
All right, speaking of mind-blowing discoveries, this next article talks about stone tools found in this Chinese cave. It's called Guanyandong. And these tools date back 160,000 to 170,000 years.
Okay, that's pretty old, even for stone tools, right? So
Yeah.
what's so special about these ones?
Well, they were made using this really specific technique. It's called the Levallois technique. And it's a pretty advanced way of crafting multiple tools from a single stone.
Okay, I see. And the article is saying this technique wasn't thought to have reached China that early, right?
Exactly. Which suggests, maybe there was an earlier transmission of knowledge and skills than we thought.
Right. But then, here's the catch. The article says they didn't find any skeletal remains.
Yeah. So we don't actually know who these master tool makers were.
So was it Neanderthals? Denisovans? Or maybe early Homo sapiens?
It's a total mystery. Okay, so we've got ancient skeletons, mind-boggling tech, and now we're getting into some real detective work. And speaking of mysteries, these next few articles dive into some seriously puzzling artifacts, objects that have sparked debates and fueled some wild theories.
Okay, I'm ready. Take me to the unknown.
All right, so first up we have the Drapa stones. Have you heard of these?
Drop of stones? Maybe. Give me the rundown.
Okay, so allegedly, these are stone discs, and they were found in a Chinese cave back in 1938. And supposedly, get this, they contain the story of a crashed alien spacecraft.
Whoa, alien spacecraft. Okay, hold on. Is this legit?
Well, that's where it gets tricky. So the story goes that the story is written in these tiny hieroglyphics, but the stones themselves have vanished.
Oh, come on. Really? So there's no way to verify any of this?
Nope. And there's really no solid evidence to back up the claim, so some people think it's a total fabrication.
Yeah, I can see why they'd say that, but still, it's a pretty intriguing story, right?
Totally. I mean, isn't it interesting how sometimes the lack of evidence just makes things even more mysterious?
I guess that's why these stories keep circulating, right? It's those unanswered questions that keep us hooked.
For sure. Okay, next up, we have the Sakura bird. This is an ancient Egyptian artifact made of wood, and it's shaped like a bird.
A wooden bird. Okay, what's so special about this one?
Well, it dates back to around 200 BCE, but the really cool part is that people debate its purpose.
Okay, so was it a toy? A ceremonial object? What are we thinking?
Some people think, and this is where it gets wild, that it could be evidence of early aerodynamic knowledge.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, the bird's shape kind of resembles a glider. So some people are like, what if the ancient Egyptians actually understood some of the principles of flight?
That would be amazing. But is there any evidence to support that? Like, did they leave any, I don't know, instructions?
Sadly, no. No documentation whatsoever.
Yeah.
And no one even knows for sure where it was originally found.
So for now, it remains a mystery, but a very cool one. Okay, what else do we have?
All right, last one in this category. The Piri Race Map. Now, I know a map might not sound that mysterious, but this one dates back to the 16th century, and it accurately depicts Antarctica's coastline.
Hold on, that doesn't add up. Antarctica wasn't discovered until much later, right?
Exactly. That's what's so crazy about this map. It was made centuries before the official discovery of Antarctica.
Okay, but how is that even possible? Did they just, like, guess?
Okay, here's where it gets even weirder. The map shows Antarctica without its ice sheet.
Without the ice? But wait, wasn't that, like, thousands of years ago?
Right, the coastline it shows, that was last seen over 6,000 years ago. So how did they know?
That is a huge question. It gotta be one of the biggest mysteries in cartography, right?
Totally. Some people even suggest, and this is like way out there, that there was this ancient, super advanced civilization that mapped the whole world long before recorded history.
That would be incredible if it were true. But then there's also the possibility that it was compiled from older maps, right? Like maps from a time when Antarctica was ice-free.
That's another possibility.
Either way, it definitely makes you rethink what we know about history. It's like, what else are we missing?
I know, right? Okay, so we've got these potentially advanced civilizations, these mysterious objects with like no explanation, and then these stories that really blur the lines between fact and fiction.
It's amazing. What else is in store for us today? What other fascinating artifacts are we going to encounter in this deep dive?
Well, how about we shift gears a little and focus on some artifacts that tell the personal stories of individuals who lived long ago?
Sounds good to me. Let's explore the human side of history. Okay, so let's kick things off with a story about intrigue, betrayal, and maybe even the oldest political murder ever.
Ooh, a murder mystery. I'm in. Tell me more.
All right, so we're going back about 4,000 years to a grave in Germany. This guy, they call him the Prince of Helmsdorf, and he had a pretty rough ending.
Okay, so what happened? Did they, like, find the murder weapon or something?
Well, not exactly a weapon, but they did find his skeleton. And based on the injuries, researchers were able to piece together what happened.
So, like, forensic anthropology. That's so cool. What did they find?
So he had a blow to the collarbone that shattered his shoulder blade, and then, get this, a fatal dagger wound to the stomach.
Oh, wow. That sounds pretty brutal. So, any theories about who did it?
Well, the way he was attacked, it seems like it was someone he knew, someone he trusted, maybe bodyguard, a friend, even a family member. It's a good reminder that power struggles and betrayal are, like, timeless.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, speaking of things that never change, this next article is about something I think everyone can relate to.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Customer complaints.
No way. Customer complaints from, like, ancient times?
Yep. We're talking about clay tablets found in the house of this guy, Ianasser. He was a copper merchant from ancient Ur, lived around the 18th century BCE.
Clay tablets. So, like, ancient Yelp review.
Pretty much. They detail all these complaints about his business practices, like withholding copper, ignoring delivery requests, and basically just being rude to his customers.
Oh, man. So, Ianasser was like the ancient version of a shady online seller? I guess some things really don't change. But did he get away with it? What happened to this guy?
It looks like, no, he didn't get away with it. The article mentions that historical records show he started out as a pretty trusted dealer. Like, he even worked at the palace. But by the time these complaints were popping up, his reputation was, like, completely trashed.
Karma. I love it.
Right. So it seems like he tried a few other businesses, but in the end, he lost all his wealth and status.
Wow. Well, it's a good reminder that reputation and customer service matter, even thousands of years ago.
Totally. Okay, but let's shift gears a little bit from bad business deals to something a bit more, musical.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So this article claims to have found the world's oldest known song.
Whoa, hold on. The oldest song. As in, like, with musical notes and everything.
Yeah. So it's on this 3,400-year-old clay tablet that they found in Syria. And it's written in cuneiform, but here's the crazy part. It also includes musical notation, the earliest that's ever been discovered.
No way. So can we actually, like, hear what this ancient song sounded like?
It seems like it. Researchers have been able to decode the notation and create a modern interpretation of the melody.
That's incredible. So what's the song about? What's the, like, ancient Billboard top 10 hit?
Well, it's actually pretty sad. It's a lament from a woman who's struggling with infertility.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. So it's like a really personal, emotional song.
Yeah, she blames herself for not being able to have children, and she's pleading with the moon goddess for help.
Wow, that's powerful. You know, it really humanizes the past, right? To think that people thousands of years ago were grappling with the same feelings, the same struggles that we experience today.
Totally. Okay, so let's move from this personal, intimate story to the bigger picture of, like, art and culture in the past.
Uh-huh.
What do these objects tell us about how ancient people expressed themselves, how they saw the world?
All right, let's dive into the art world. Where do we start?
How about with a little modern-day humor mixed with ancient history? Have you heard of the Blombos Cave hashtag?
The what? A hashtag? Hold on, are we talking about like a social media hashtag in a cave?
Pretty much. So in this cave in South Africa, archaeologists found this stone flake. It dates back 73,000 years, and on the flake is a drawing.
A drawing. Okay, so what's the big deal? What did they draw?
It looks like a hashtag, like the symbol we use today.
Get out of here. Are you serious? A Stone Age hashtag. What do they think it means?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. But it definitely brings up some really interesting questions, like how far back does this use of symbols go?
Right. Were they just doodling, or was it like a form of communication?
Exactly. So it pushes back the timeline for abstract and symbolic representation even further.
It makes you wonder what other symbols they were using.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's jump from the simplicity of a hashtag to the incredible complexity of, like, cave paintings.
Oh, yeah. The cave paintings, like the ones in Lascaux, France.
Exactly. Those stunning depictions of animals dating back over 17,000 years.
I mean, the detail is just amazing, right? It's like you can almost feel their presence.
Right. It's like a snapshot of their world, their beliefs. We see bison, deer, horses. I mean, what were they trying to tell us with these images?
It's hard to say for sure. Were they scenes from their daily life? Maybe depictions of their prey? Or perhaps part of some kind of ritual?
So many possibilities. All right, now let's fast forward a bit. We're going to South America, and we're about to encounter something truly mind-boggling. The Nazca Lines.
Ah, the Nazca Lines. Those giant geoglyphs etched into the desert.
The one and only. Depicting animals, plants, geometric shapes. And they're so massive you can only really appreciate them from the air.
Yeah, the scale is just like impossible to grasp from the ground. It's like, how did they even do that? How did they create these perfectly straight lines and these intricate figures when they couldn't even see the full picture?
I know, right? Some theories suggest they used, like grids and ropes, for measurement. But still, it would have taken so much planning and coordination.
It's crazy. And then the big question, of course, why? What was the purpose?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Some people think they were ceremonial pathways. Others say they represent constellations, maybe even messages to the gods.
Right.
It's still a mystery.
Totally. But whatever the reason, it's a testament to their ingenuity and their creativity.
Oh.
All right, so we've got hashtags, cave paintings, giant geoglyphs. It's incredible to see the evolution of artistic expression through time,
Absolutely. Okay, but let's not forget about the power of art to, like, convey messages or even, like, settle disputes.
Oh, I like this.
This brings us to our last artifact for this section,
Yeah.
a Sumerian stele. It's basically this 4,500-year-old marble pillar.
Okay, pillar. So what's so special about this one?
Well, it's inscribed with a story about a border dispute between two Mesopotamian city-states.
A border dispute. Okay, so like an ancient Twitter war, but in stone.
Kinda, yeah. But here's the thing. The writer of this stele, when he's describing the enemy god, he makes his name almost unreadable on purpose.
Wait, really? That's hilarious.
Sure.
That's like some serious shade, even for 4,500 years ago.
Right. It's like an ancient diss track.
It just goes to show you some things never change. So art wasn't just about beauty back then. It was also about politics, propaganda, even settling scores.
Absolutely. Okay, so from a child buried with care to ancient computers, unsolved mysteries, and even shady copper merchants, we've really seen how these artifacts can, like, challenge our assumptions, connect us to the past, and just make us think differently about history, you know?
It's incredible. And it makes you wonder what other stories are out there, what will future generations unearth and learn about us?
I know. It's really amazing, isn't it, how these objects, some of them, like huge and impressive, others just everyday things, can take us back thousands of years and give us a glimpse into these people's lives, like what they believe, what they struggled with, even their sense of humor, you know?
Yeah. It's mind-blowing. And it makes you wonder, what about us? What will people think when they dig up our stuff thousands of years from now? What stories will our objects tell?
Okay, so here's a question for you then. If you could unearth just one artifact from history,
Yeah.
what would you pick and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, there's so much to choose from, right? But, I think if I had to pick just one, I think I'd go for something that could give us a real look into the daily lives of people from some lost civilization, like, maybe a diary or a bunch of letters, something like that. Something that could really show us their hopes and dreams and fears.
That would be incredible, wouldn't it? To hear their voices, like directly from the past, to understand how they saw the world.
Exactly. It would be like a window into another time. And it reminds us that, history isn't just about dates and wars and kings and queens. It's about all these individuals who lived and loved and experienced life just like we do. They're the ones who shaped the world we live in now.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, I think as we wrap up this deep dive into these incredible artifacts, the biggest thing I'm taking away is just how full of surprises the past is. It's like a reminder to always be curious, to never stop asking questions, and to never underestimate how powerful even a single object can be in terms of unlocking those secrets.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one making that next amazing discovery. After all, history's still being made every day, right? And every time someone digs up a new artifact, it adds another chapter to the story of humanity.
So true. So to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep digging, keep that curiosity alive. You never know what you might find. That next incredible artifact could be right around the corner. And until then, keep in mind that the past is never really past. It's all around us, just waiting to be rediscovered.